Every year, planet Earth produces 2,000 tornadoes.
Now
well, he's got a tornado behind him.
Yeah, Mike, can you hear us? Guys, that's it. Right there. There's the tornado. We are just north of Union City, south of El Reno, south of I-40. Cops have blocked off 81 at this point and not letting traffic go south.
And 1,800 of them happen here. Not in a country with the worst weather, and not in a country with violent geography. Just here. One country, one shape on a map, responsible for nearly all the violent wind events in the entire history of the planet. And the reason has nothing to do with bad luck. So here's the question that bothered me when I first looked it up. Tornadoes don't require anything exotic. They are not like volcanoes that only exist on tectonic boundaries. They are not like earthquakes that only hit fault lines. All tornado need is cold air, warm air, and the right condition for them to collide. That's it. And the earth has warm air and cold air everywhere. So why does one country get almost all of them? The answer isn't the weather, the shape of North America, the mountains, the coastlines, the flat empty middle. Accidentally built the perfect tornado factory that has ever existed on this planet. And it wasn't designed that way. It just happened. Let me show you exactly how. Most people get this completely wrong. Before we talk about why they happen in the US, we need to fix a misconception most people have about tornadoes. Most people think a tornado forms from the top down, like the funnel drops out of the cloud and reaches the ground. That's not what happens. A tornado forms from the ground up. Here is what actually happens. You have a thunderstorm up at altitude, a supercell. Inside the thunderstorm, there is a column of air spinning horizontally, like a rolling log, slow rotation parallel to the ground. Now the supercell has a massive updraft, that vertical column rising air that catches the horizontal spin and tilts it vertical. Now you have a column of air spinning vertically, and as that column gets pulled upward and downward at the same time, it stretches. And here's the physics that matters. When a spinning object stretches, it spins faster. Think of a figure skater. Arms out, slow spin. Arms in, fast spin. The same amount of rotational energy, smaller radius. The speed has to go somewhere. That's angular momentum conservation. And it's the same principle that takes a slow, lazy rotation in a storm cloud and turns it into 200 mph funnel reaching the ground. The tornado doesn't fall from the sky. It gets pulled into existence. So now we know what a tornado needs to form. It needs wind shear, two layers of air moving in different directions so that horizontal rotation can build. It needs a massive unstable updraft, warm, moist air being lifted violently, and it needs cold, dry air crushing in from above to create the pressure difference that drives everything. Three ingredients. Now look at this map. Down here, the Gulf of Mexico. Warm, humid air sitting over warm water. It flows northward across Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Up here, Canada and the Arctic. Cold, dry air pushing south. And right here, the Rocky Mountains. As that air comes over the mountains and the sand, it dries out completely. We call it a dry line, a razor-sharp boundary between dry desert air from the west and moist tropical air from the south. These three air masses, warm and wet from the south, cold and dry from the north, dry and fast from the west, they all collide at the same place. Every spring, every year, right here. Tornado Alley. This isn't a name someone invented. It's a physical description of what a piece of geography does to the atmosphere above it. And now this is the part that most people have never thought about. Europe has cold air, Europe has warm air, and Europe has mountains. Why doesn't Europe get tornadoes? Look at the Rocky Mountains. They run south to north. Look at the Alps in Europe. They run east to west. The direction of the mountain range changes everything. In the US, the Rockies run north to south, which means cold Arctic air from Canada has a completely clear, flat path southward all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Nothing blocks it. Warm air and cold air can travel thousands of miles and crash into each other at full speed over completely flat land. In Europe, the Alps run east to west. This is between the cold northern air and the hot southern air like a wall. Cold air stays north of the Alps and warm air stays south of the Alps. They can't meet at the scale they do in the US. And so Europe doesn't have Tornado Island. It doesn't have the supercell corridor. It has the Alps standing in the way. The most violent weather phenomenon doesn't happen in America because Americans are unlucky. It happens because America's mountains accidentally left a door open. 1,000-mile wide, completely flat door between the coldest air on the continent and the warmest. What this actually means in numbers. Let's talk about what this geography actually produces. An EF5 tornado, the highest category, has a wind speed above 200 miles per hour. That's faster than a Formula 1 car at full speed. The pressure inside the funnel drops so fast that the buildings don't just get blown over, they explode outward because the outside pressure disappears faster then the air inside the building can escape. The building essentially detonates from the pressure difference alone, and the funnel itself, that thing can be 2 miles wide. 2 miles. That's wider than most cities' downtown cores, moving at 60 miles per hour across flat land, with nowhere to hide. And all of it, every F5 ever recorded, and every town that was erased in seconds, traces back to the mountain range running the wrong direction. Or the right direction, depending on how you look at it. There is something strange about realizing that one of the most destructive forces in nature isn't random. It has a cause, specific, traceable, geometric cause. The Gulf of Mexico is warm because of where it sits. The Arctic is cold because of where it sits. The mountains run north to south because of how the continent formed 300 million years ago. None of it was aimed at anyone, it just lines up. Every spring, the same door opens, the same air masses find each other, and the same physics plays out. The tornado doesn't know it's over Kansas, but Kansas knows. And now, so do you. If this made you think differently about weather, this one is going to do the same thing to the way you think about fire.